Well, I'm afraid nobody will be pleased with this video. It's about greed. It's about why a lot of us aren't big fans of capitalism. And this is capitalism at its most rotten, worst state. There's a drug out called Darepring, and it used to go for less than a year or so ago for $1 a pill. This is a drug that's been in existence for 62 years. All major hospitals used to keep it on hand. It is a drug that is a last resort drug for certain parasitic infections that without this drug, these people will be dead. Now, someone bought this company and they changed the price of the drug from $1 to $13.50. Now talk about gouging. 1,350% rise in a drug that's 62 years old. So they can't claim that they had to raise the price for research. They can't claim that they had to raise the price because of the cost of making the drug when the previous company was making a profit at $1. But then here's where absolute greed turns into maniacal behavior. There was a guy that used to run a hedge fund called Martin Shkreli, Shkrell. He used to run a hedge fund, so that'll give you an idea of the nature of this bastard. He bought the company, raised the price of the drug from $13.50 to $750. Here's a drug that previously sold for $1, and then some scum raised it to $13.50, and then the bottom of the barrel takes it and moves it up to $750. So people are dying. Hospitals can no longer afford to keep this drug on hand, so that it takes them days to get a hold of it, which is life-threatening to the people that are infected by these parasites. This is capitalism at its absolute worst, and it's what gives capitalism a bad name, and deservedly so. This guy should be shot up with these parasites and left in a room to die. I mean, this is an embarrassment to humanity. There was 2 congressmen that were investigating this from time it went from $1 to $13.50, and nothing came of it. That's what your Congress is good for. You know, let's let 2 people investigate it, and all the credit to them for doing it, but nothing ever came of it. Now, Hillary comes out with a plan to help reduce the cost of drugs, and it makes sense. Every industrialized nation in the fucking world goes to the pharmaceutical company, looks over their books, and then decides what a reasonable margin of profit would be. Canada does it, so they have one buyer, so that drug can be distributed from one central place. Now, I used to get a drug called Norvasc for blood pressure. I still take it, and it was before it went generic. It used to be like a fifth as much if I bought it in Canada. Now, you'd have to go through an agent in California, and that's who you paid, and then you'd ship it from Canada. And of course, all the senators that are bought by these pharmaceutical companies would say, oh, well, you can't trust the purity of the drugs in Canada. Well, I got news for you, you sons of bitch and lying bastards. That drug is made in Ankara, Turkey, and that all of the Norvasc is distributed from there. So that the drugs that were going into Canada at a fifth the price of the drug in the United States was made in the same place the drug in the United States was made. These pharmaceutical companies are nothing but a bunch of crooks that have bought off the Congress to prevent you from getting cheap drugs. Why in the world, when Bush put in his drug policy, which was a help, did they write the law so that no big government organization, whether it's Medicare or whatever, could deal by itself with the drug companies, that every different program had to deal separately. So there was no one buyer. That would save hundreds of billions of dollars a year of citizens' money, and the poor people that can't even afford to buy drugs, that would make it available to them if we weren't held up every time we go to cash in a prescription. This is, this is lunacy and greed, and it's perpetrated by the Congress. Why in the world? The Congress, they couldn't even pass a bill that said that agents had to act in the interest of their clients, meaning people working for Goldman Sachs or Citigroup or whatever, that they couldn't pass a bill that made them act in, so that Citigroup and Goldman Sachs and these people can call you on the phone and tell you to buy something that they know is going to drop, and that they're selling, that they themselves are using their money and buying shorts. This government is so corrupt that it wouldn't annoy me to just eliminate every damn one of them and start over. We couldn't end up with worse than we have now. The corruption is rampant. Now, that's not the only drug. Now, there's another drug called cycloserine that went from $500 for 30 pills to $10,800 for 30 pills. Dioxycycline went from $20 to $1,849. Now, these pills are, the patents on a lot of these run out, certainly the 62-year-old one. Now, a lot of times, generic drugs, they were just wonderful because they're the same damn drug, and you could, once the patent wore off, you could make them, produce them for pennies and sell them for $1, whereas they used to produce them for pennies and sell them for $20. That was terrific. Now, what's happening now? These big pharmaceutical companies are, besides merging and making giant conglomerates, they are also buying up these generic manufacturers, and they are raising the price. I've seen drugs myself that I used to get for $7-8 with my prescription plan. Just the other day, one went from $9 to $133 because of crooks in this fucking world. Now, I don't care if it's Bernie Sanders. I don't care if it's Donald Trump. I don't care if it's Hillary Clinton. Somebody's got to do something, and they got to do it damn soon, because the major cause of bankruptcy in this country are medical bills. And why? Not because our medicine is so much better than anybody else in the world. Internationally, we don't even rate in the top 10 countries of medicine. Why? Because the crooks control. We still got 45 million people with no insurance at all. This is absolutely criminal, and the only way to change it is to throw them bastards out of office.